The day when shadows burned, the day full of pain and disaster, and the unknown things were happened. The unforgettable day of bitter truth, the day when life was feel like burdened with scary cuts and painful scars. Nagasaki. Wishing a very bright and vibrant morning, everyone. Let us sneak and peek to those unforgettable war days. Learn lessons of peace and harmony. Spread humanity and brotherhood in the world. Nagasaki is on August 9th, which is observed as a day to remember the people and the innocent children who were killed by the atomic bombs dropped by US in 1945. It commemorates the day when the atomic bomb named Fat Man killed more than 80,000 people in Nagasaki, leaving a great mass of destruction. Now, let us talk to the people who suffered from Nagasaki.
The pictures of mushroom clouds after the bombs were detonated in Nagasaki by the US and Japan has gone down in history as the worst kind of devastation human beings can unleash on our planet. On August 9, 1945, the United States dropped a nuclear bomb on Nagasaki, 3 days after the one in Hiroshima, codenamed Fat Man. The bomb massacred thousands on that fateful day. Today, Nagasaki Day is observed across the world to promote peace and to raise awareness about the threats of nuclear war. My name is Shreya, and today I will be speaking to a group of people who have survived this truly harrowing ordeal and are willing to share their stories of tremendous sacrifice, suffering and rehabilitation with us. Now without further ado, let's get into it. What were your childhood experiences growing up in Nagasaki? It seems like a beautiful place with a rich and vibrant history and background. How were you personally affected by the blast?
My childhood experience growing up in Nagasaki was like helping my mom in the kitchen and doing a farming with my dad. We used to plant lettuce and carrots and so on. After the bombing, I was affected with my right leg. I was not able to walk with my right leg, and also my face and ears, they were severely bruised and damaged.
Now let's move on to our second question. What were you doing at the time of the bombing? Did it seem like yet another day before it happened?
I remember sitting at the backyard of my house when the explosion took place, and I was unconscious for a long time. And when I woke up, I could barely recognize the place. The buildings and houses were completely destroyed, everything was changed, and I was really injured. And yeah, it did feel like another day after the explosion since the whole appearance of the atmosphere had changed. I was totally lost.
How did it feel like leaving the place you spent your entire childhood in?
We had to even leave the place due to this attack. It was really hard to leave the place where we have spent our childhood, but there was no other way than this to be safe. The attack on Nagasaki destroyed about 30% of the city. Over 74,000 people had lost their lives during this incident, along with increased rates of cancer and chronic disease.
What were the thoughts rushing through your mind when the bomb detonated? Were you able to comprehend anything that was happening around you?
When the bomb was dropped, it felt like millions of camera lights flashing at each other. The explosion was massive. I could see people vaporizing near me. Buildings were collapsing one by one. The impact of the bomb had created a huge mushroom cloud. I closed my eyes and counted back from 100. My mind had no time to process anything. It was the most horrifying experience that I've ever felt.
What impact did the bombing have on your mental and physical health?
By the time the bomb attack was over, I had already been drifted out of consciousness. For the next few days, my state was the same. My face had swelled up so much that I could not open my eyes. And along with that, my gums were also bleeding. At first, I was treated at an air raid shelter and then at the hospital. When I returned home, I was completely covered with bandages, but I was still unconscious. Soon, I was fighting a high fever, and eventually I did wake up. Although all this happened years ago, I still have a keloid scar on my neck to remind me of the turning point of my life. Mentally, at that time, I was tensed, scared, frightened, and all that a normal human being would feel while exposed at the sudden explosion of atomic bomb. But what really impacted me was the after effect. Up to this day, I'm always conscious, stressed, and when I think about my parents' death, it gives me a painful sensation in my heart. I just hope that none of this will happen in the future and everyone will be always safe and in peace.
That sounds like an extremely traumatizing experience. No one deserves to go through what you've been through. How do you feel about wars? Why do people start them in the first place?
My feelings on war is based on two thought processes. One is that absolutely war is not a necessary thing, as it is just a tool for achieving either money or political power goals. A war causes death and injury of large number of people, loss of economic resources, destruction of the environment, loss of productivity, and lasting damage to military personnel. There are many countries yet to recover from such wars, probably took place some decades back. But on the other side of the coin, wars were necessary as some countries chose war as a mean to become independent. Though it may be evil to some, but it could be salvation to others. War arises because of the changing relation of numerous variable technological, psychic, social, intellectual. There is no single cause of war.
What did you and your family do in the aftermath of the bombing?
After the bomb explosion, we checked the house, especially the roof. We sought medical help and did a thorough medical checkup to check the impact on our ears and brains. We shared our medical condition with concerned authorities so that after effects can be studied by them. We checked on all our dear ones. We helped the most adversely needed ones by providing them food, shelter, and medical help as possible.
Did you ever feel reluctant to share your story with someone? What message would you like to deliver to the future generations in the years to come?
No, I never felt reluctant to share my story because I wanted to spread awareness so that the future generation may not suffer like this. In the future, we need to ban all kinds of nuclear warfare since it will only do more harm than good. Like when there was a bomb blast in Afghanistan and 7 people died due to it, which also included bus bombing. In the future, we can prevent from nuclear bombs by showing up to hall meetings by presidents, sending online messages to representatives, and write a message to personalize your message. Thank you.
That was an enlightening session. Thank you all for your time, and I hope you lead a tranquil life from this point ahead. You are true fighters, and I hope this interview will be able to touch lives and educate people about the destruction wars can cause.